Hello and welcome. This is Alchemistexe, and this is the banner overview for the week of June 2nd. So we have the pre-Genesis event that has now been released, and it is another storyline and another gameplay mode to go along with it. So rather than just more dungeon boss events, instead they have what they call the score challenge levels. And you are graded and given a high score based on certain criteria, such as the number of turns, number of enemies killed in one turn, crystals destroyed, jewel items collected on the map, etc. And based on your performance, you'll be ranked with other players. And then completely independent of that, just the total number of points you accumulate will be how you get the various prizes in the level, including gems, Zafeiris shards, enlightenment stuff, that kind of thing. So it's definitely worth everyone's time to do. It's just to what level you want to commit to trying to beat the hardest difficulty is really a question of what units you have and what memento groups you have, because the clear data on the hardest level is very sparse and very specific. So I'd just be wary of that. But if you can't beat it, don't worry about it. You're only really missing out on 250 gems from the milestone, and otherwise you can just do the easiest level and then just throw as much AP and event skip tickets as you possibly can at it, and then just get the individual rewards that way. And I think that's probably the best use of your time if that's a concern. So before I get into the banners themselves and then also the summoning that I did, I want to talk a little bit about the mechanics of this level, because it gets really, really specific. It's very, very clearly tailored towards Zafeiris' kit. So naturally, Thunder units have a bit of an edge. All the enemies have a little bit higher resistance to every element that's not Thunder. And then there's also certain things besides like the cover and the constant healing. One thing is that the reason that certain units really aren't useful when they otherwise could have been is that a lot of the enemies have the ability to remove buffs, which is one of the reasons I was using Voda, because her buffs can't be removed as long as you have the panels and the adjacentness. And then I also used Elizabeth just because she's one of the best healers in the game who can also quicken. So it's just something to be wary of. This is not my favorite clear. My favorite clear that I did was I used Orion and Dry. Like, Dry would disable heal them, and then Orion would just kill them. But you do have to be wary that if you take too long to kill the enemies, their P defense will go up and up, and then they'll eventually be able to one-shot you. So it does lean towards being able to do large amounts of damage at once. And then other than that, if you want to not get heavily docked for the number of turns, you would need some way of being extra mobile, like a flying unit or the ability to teleport the way that Soul has. If you're really confident that your unit can survive, you can use the cover to teleport to one of the Holy Brawler enemies. But in the harder difficulties of this map, that's almost a guarantee that character is going to get killed. And I found that as far as survivability goes, keeping the units together is a little bit better. But that really only matters if you care about your score ranking relative to other players. And as we all know, just like with Arena, that is going to be a scenario that heavily favors whales. So generally speaking, the more money somebody puts in the game, the more resources they'll have, and thus having, more limit broken, limited mementos, that kind of thing, bigger unit pool, that is something of a given. Okay, that's all I have to say about this map. So I'd like to go ahead and move on to the banners. And here we are at the banners, man. I haven't even done my free summon yet. I just opened the game for the first time today, just now. So there's one paid summon on here that's not going to be here because I've already done it at the time of this recording. It is one that was available for the weekend, which was the 100 shards of 5 stars. I had been waiting for one of those to use the last of my paid gems, so I'll showcase that at the end here. As far as this one for Zafeiris goes, I think it's, for most people, going to be a ripoff. If you're absolutely obsessed with getting Zafeiris, or whoever the new unit that gets this type of banner is, it would apply in any of those cases. If you're just really, really fixated on them and you'd rather spend more money than free gems, then it might make sense to save you some laps, but I don't think that's a good value. Then we've got the one for mementos where it's kind of the same thing. Just you can spend paid gems to try and get one of the new mementos, and they functionally trade 1,500 paid gems for 20, about 20k free gems, potentially, if it goes the way that you want it to. So Zafeiris is the main attraction this week. I think he's a very, very fun unit, and he's got a lot of interesting things that he does. I'm not sure I would call him necessarily must-have. Like, he's must-have if you want to easily clear the highest difficulty of that score challenge. But aside from that, I definitely think he's cool. And whether or not he is worth the amount of gems that he costs, I think really depends on what your lineup is and how much you want to use him. I mean, being Thunder is good because he can get boosted by Judith. He's an M attack scaler, just pure M attack, so that means he benefits from Letitia. He can do some cool things like the map-wide rate damage to heal himself, and then his dragon transformation comes with like a map effect to help boost Thunder units, so he's definitely not lacking. He's just not he's not a godly damage dealer or provides a specific utility that would be considered must-have. It's more just he can fill quite a few different roles at the same time, and that's where a lot of his appeal comes. So rather than compare him to someone like Nimble, I'd probably more compare him to someone like Nero. And I've gotten a lot of value out of Nero, so I think there's something to be said for versatility. But yeah, if you want to get him, then this is going to be the way to do it. Just most people would probably have to keep doing laps until they have enough to transmute. You can get 25 from the event. There is no mercenary milestone, just the event only, so it would be a total of 5. Then we've got an Ambrosia and Benica banner. I really don't know how much Ambrosia's new memento helps her, practically speaking. On paper, the traits of it are good, things that she would want, like extra damage, definitely cast time reduction being reduced. That is good. I just don't know how much of a difference it makes for Ambrosia. But if you really like her, then it's a good thing to go for, because then you can get 150 shards if you max limit break the memento. So all in all, not a terrible banner if you really want to get either Benica or Ambrosia, just because that 25 selector on step 3 could definitely be helpful, especially if you were already close to transmuting one of them. Then we've got an Orion and Longhao. I don't think this one's as good, just because Longhao is the kind of unit you can get in a shop. Same thing with Orion, and Orion's been around for a really, really long time, so it seems like if you've been playing a really long time, it's more likely than not that you would have him. Then we have coin banners, which are just for select Thunder units. Same as usual, 200 coins per step, and then all of the units that are featured here can be obtained in the shop. It includes Genesis units like Nyx and Inaku and Dark Julia, so all in all, not bad. If you're trying to raise any of these units, especially the Genesis ones, then it's a good opportunity to get shards for them. Just whether or not that's worth the gems is up to you, but definitely potential for value on that. Then we have the new Memento banner. And, same as usual, just 9-step. Hopefully you'll get lucky and get it before then. And then finally we have a 7-step Memento banner where you can potentially get enough of the same copy to max limit break one. And they're all just specific Thunder Mementos. Most of them are limited, but not all of them are. Like Judith's, for example, is on there, Claris and Rachel's. So it's not a terrible pool, but if you've already got some of them max limit broken, like I do, it definitely wouldn't be that appealing. But as far as the pool goes, it could certainly be a lot worse, especially given that every 5-star that appears is going to be in that pool. Alright, so the next thing that I'm going to do is showcase my results for the Sunday summon. Before that, though, let's see if I have any luck with the free daily summon. So what I'm going to do for Zafeiris is, I don't have enough to guarantee him, but I think I'm going to do at least one step, because the free tickets plus the discount ticket makes getting that first set of 25 shards on step 5 less expensive than it normally would be. And yeah, that would free me up for later. I can save enough gems for another unit that I'm waiting for, which is the next Phantom of the Kill unit. You have Shayna. Okay, I'm guessing that is a nothing Q great there. But yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at that summon. Okay, so it's entirely possible that this is the last paid banner that I ever do, depending on the behavior of Gumi. I was thinking I might reconsider if they can make it to like the anniversary without any train wrecks. But yeah, I don't know about that. But the reason I chose this one is because of the 100 soul shards. It's very unlikely that you'd get specific units that you want on this, but because the pool is so big, the potential for getting 100 shards of unit that you could very easily make use of, ideally in like the higher tiers of scarcity, is going to be a bit higher. So there are, assuming my counting is right, I got 187 eligible units for this banner, as far as like the normal pool units, the limited, so basically everything that's not collaboration and wouldn't count like Little Ouroboros, Waginau, any of the memento units, etc. 187. So assuming that it was an equal probability, it'd be a very, very low chance on a single 10 pull to get one specific unit. But once you start looking at groups of units, like say in the 26 or so Genesis units, or the 16 or so units who have the highest tier of scarcity, then the odds start to become a little bit decent. Like that result right there was pretty bad because there's just one limited unit, and then contextually not that great because that one unit was Siegfried, who's not a great unit to begin with, and then also someone I just don't need more shards of. One thing I have noticed from doing this type of banner over a fairly long period of time, obviously I haven't done every single one, but I've done enough of them to get a sense of what common results look like, at least, with the sample size that I've got. Ideally, having a giant sample size would be ideal, but it seems like getting 2 to 3 limited units is considered a good or decent roll, and then anything beyond that is a great roll. And that makes me think that it's not weighted equally, because as far as just the ratio of limiteds to non-limited units goes, and this is every limited, including bad ones, including the ones you can get for free, etc., just whether or not it's classed as limited, you'd have a 47% approximate chance of getting a limited unit relative to a normal pool, if that were the case. And it just does not seem like the case. It seems like it skews more towards like 20% or so. So yeah, I think that kind of sucks. But even if it's not equally weighted, just having the possibility to get large amounts of shards for units that are otherwise not easy to get, it does make it potentially more valuable. I still think that of all of the available types of paid banners, or at least the ones that circulate somewhat regularly, I think that the Genesis themed banners where you're guaranteed one, where a dupe is 100 shards and then you get 9 sets of 25 shards, I still think that's the highest value as far as what you're getting. But yeah, there we go. There's Adelaide. So because I got Adelaide, I'm gonna not continue this summon, because I just don't think the chances are going to be that high that that level of rarity could get reached again. Just because, again, if it was equally weighted, which I don't believe that it is, but even if it was, then that percentage would be about 8%. So I definitely want to stick with that. And then I guess as an added bonus, I got 100 Berta shards. So yeah, that is all I got for this week. So if you are going for Zafeiris, I wish you good luck, and then I'll showcase my results on Wednesday. And with that, I will see you all next time.